started off in the science background, wanting to study medicine, discovered my passion in media, and now I'm doing this pretty much full time. And, my parents, they had very interesting reactions to that, but I'm gonna...
If you start, the opportunities will come.
Yeah.
But I think, the thing that makes it sustainable for me, the thing that had made it sustainable for me is just the consistency.
Within this full-time job, you naturally get the industry standard and expectations that people should have of you within your business.
Cool. So let's come together. Let's bring those who provide the opportunities. Let's bring those with the skills and put them on one platform that allows them to be the best they can. Every newcomer is a newcomer.
Every newcomer is a newcomer. Oh shit, brothers. Love that. Hi guys, welcome to the Mo Junction. Welcome to another installment of Chit Chat with Mo, where we have controversial debates, honest conversation, and so much more. And today we have two guests with us in the building. Hi guys.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Just say your name and what you do.
Cool. So I'm Natalie
Natalie.
Nigel. I'm one of two co-founders of Newcomer.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Nigel, co-founder of Newcomer.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the show. So we're going to have quite an interesting conversation. We're going to segue into a few things, but I wanted us to start with this whole thing about, young African creatives and the career paths that they choose sometimes and how it affects their relationship with their parents, their parents' reactions to, what they've chosen to do with their lives, basically. You guys know on the show that, I've had an interesting journey, started off in the science background, wanting to study medicine, discovered my passion in media, and now I'm doing this pretty much full time. And, my parents, they had very interesting reactions to that. But I'm gonna...
Can imagine.
I just graduated from medical physiology, got a first class. They were thinking, right, the next thing was, going to medical school. And, my mom would see me coming downstairs, putting on makeup in the morning, doing, hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So my mom was thinking something is seriously wrong with this girl. Like, I would hear, her prayer points.
Oh, no.
You know when, they do that? I would hear the MFM prayers.
So redirect yourself.
Yes, where she's like, God, please, whatever spell is on her, just reverse it. So they take it very seriously when creatives go down the creative path.
Yeah.
So for you guys, would you consider yourselves creatives, and what's kind of been your personal struggles with what you want to do with your life, and then your parents' reactions to that?
Boy,
I feel like Nigel should go first.
Listen, I mean, for me, I think I always have to introduce myself by saying I live a double life, basically.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, half of myself is creative, and I've been doing photography for more than 10 years, and I've literally started a creative collective with some of my uni friends where we've done the Shoreditch nights, we've done the Camden nights, we've done the music videos, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then the other half is I'm a banker, I work as a relationship manager, I deal with, clients small to large and do all that fun, exciting number crunching stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the journey has been an interesting one for sure. And there's always this stigma about people who study economics. But I feel like for me, it was I can't lie, I feel like it was influenced by the fact that my examples were people who had gone into finance or who had gone into the corporate world.
Okay.
So you come and they have those career days and they're talking about, we work 24 hours a day, but at the end of the day, you can go and buy whatever you want. I was like, light bulb, that's what I want to do. So so gradually, as much as career-wise, I was kind of leaning towards that corporate world, I think the creativity you can't escape from. If you're creative, you've got it.
If it's in you, it's in you.
Facts.
And it's so hard to remove or squash it down forever. What about yourself, Natalie?
I always say my sister and I are a typical African parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
I work in advertising and she's a full-time artist.
Wow,
so,
full-time.
full-time.
Artist. What does that even mean to African parents? What's so God?
So it's always been so crazy because growing up, thankfully, I've never really been in the position where my parents are don't go into this. They've really kind of always given us the freedom to be who we want to be or who we say we are in that moment.
It's amazing.
Because it's a case where if they push us down one path. I remember when I was in high school, my dad was like, "Do you want to do media law?" I was like, "Nah," because I think for him it was kind of like striking the balance within the two, and it was the typical
Corporate,
you talk
creative,
a lot, you should do law kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I know you kind of like your creative stuff, so maybe you should do media law. But that didn't really last that long.
Did you do the media law?
Oh no,
Okay.
I ended up doing media and communications in the end, and then
Okay.
I transitioned to into advertising.
Yeah.
But I would say for me, even within my double life, I think it's still just been about exploring different like creative facets. Because when I was younger, I would say the first thing that I started was I wanted to be I wanted to go into music first.
Okay.
This was around the age of 4-5. And then at a point, I was like, I wanted to be a Barbie doll. I don't know what that means.
What?
And then my sister...
Wait, are we just going to glide over that? She said she wanted to be a Barbie.
That was a dream of mine. And my sister was like, you know they're going to have to drill holes under your feet. And I was like, okay, nah. I should start like actually thinking of like other things. And then around the age of like, say, 11, 12, my dad started photography.
Okay.
So as he was teaching himself, he started teaching me as well.
Oh, wow.
He got bored, but then I kept like going. And then naturally that transitioned into graphic design, videography, animation, etc. So in terms of today, I'm your typical hybrid creative.
Wow.
I'm just like all over the place as they come.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so interesting that you said your dad actually began photography and then passed it over to you.
Yeah.
Even though he was like, go do media law.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of African parents have creatives within them that they've actually squashed?
100%.
Like,
definitely.
Because of the whole, you have to be a doctor, lawyer, nurse, you know, something very like, you know, straight to the point. Like I would say like my mom, she's a comedian. Like, honestly, I would say that she is so funny. If she was an actress, she would have done really, really great. But in her head, she's like, oh.
It doesn't feel sustainable.
What's been kind of your creative journeys, you know, speaking of sustainability, in terms of the money side of, you know, talked about recently on my channel, talked about where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides.
Definitely.
Honestly, like passion can only take you so far. And, you know, as you get older, I'm now 25. You know, it was cute when I was 21. You know, doing the whole, hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel and not really generating much income. It was cute back then, okay? But now, you know, certain life events are happening.
Has to add up.
Buying a house, all of that kind of stuff. They will laugh at you. Come to the bank, they will laugh at you. What's your income? Like what's, you know? So that can only take you so far. What's kind of been your personal journeys in terms of, okay, let's turn this into something that's actually a money maker. And I guess in your cases as well, you've gone down the hybrid route, which is not easy. But yeah, do you guys kind of want to talk me through
I think
those kind of decisions?
Mine was out of necessity, I can't lie. Because like throughout uni, so I hadn't like applied for like student loans and stuff. My dad was like, I'll pay for your tuition, I'll pay for your food. Anything else you want to do is on to you. So it was like cool. So he bought me a camera and he was like, cool, I've done this. You do what you need to do now. And literally out of that second year, I started a photography business and I started helping like my friends when they had shoots. And I think for that in itself, like your friends giving you that first opportunity to like, you know, really train your skills is such a big thing. Because you have to start from somewhere. And if you don't start, you're not going to make any money at all. So I think, that was how it kind of started. And then gradually started doing stuff for like university societies. And then, it just gradually just kept building up and eventually moved into like my third year house or my second year house with my friends. One was a musician. One was this, you know, TY is just your typical Nigerian guy who just wants to do everything and do it well. So he could easily organize events, bring people to stuff. And we just kind of came together, built this collective, which we call the Crec. And I think the money just started coming in from that because we started getting booked to do events, throw parties. We started getting it's crazy. Like if you start, the opportunities will come. But I think, you know, the thing that makes it sustainable for me, the thing that had made it sustainable for me is just the consistency.
Brilliant answer. I'm going to pick something in there in a second, but I want Natalie to answer quickly.
I think for me, I don't know how my dad always gets mixed up in the middle of these things, but when I was in uni as well, we went to the same uni, Nigel and I.
What uni was that?
Nottingham.
University
Uni of,
Whoop, whoop.
And I remember summer 2016, I was like, I want to do an internship at Ogilvy, Ghana. And my dad needs someone there. So I was like, okay, do you just want to talk to someone? And then I could do the summer internship there. And he was like, if I go to Ghana that summer, I can't go to Ghana that December. Okay. And I was like, you can't take December away from me kind of thing. Yeah. So we went back and forth. This was for like 2 months. And then finally he was like, okay, fine, you can come for summer, but I'm definitely cancelling your ticket. So I remember that was first year after the call, I was so upset on the floor. I was like,
on the floor?
Yeah, no, because I was like, how can you take my Christmas trip away from me? So it's like, okay, instead of relying on him, I'm going to start like earning my own money. So I actually started freelancing in spite of that conversation. Yeah. But then that was also around the time I was running for ACS creative director and all the other people were running as well. Yeah. So I helped them shoot their campaign videos as well. So that's how I started like actively freelancing. Yeah. And then I started building everything off the back of that. And then a couple of years later when I graduated, ironically, one of the videos that I worked on explaining how I started freelancing, that's what I used to apply for my internship at the role that I ended up getting right out of uni. Yeah. So I would say like in terms of people in uni now, whatever you feel like thinking to do, that's literally the space to do it. Yeah. And that's the space where you can start and like fail and learn from it. Yeah. And that definitely helped me in terms of defining like whatever I call myself today, I guess, because I went through that identity crisis, especially since you pick up so many things. It's like, okay, so what are you? Yeah. So that really
Even
helped.
as a creative, you can wear so many hats that you're not quite sure what to describe yourself as.
Exactly. Especially when you can't pay for other services.
Yeah.
You have to.
Where the money's not coming in here, you have to be admin manager, editor, everything. Yeah. And do you guys feel like that's kind of what made you decide, you started to make the money and then, you went into like, you work corporate, right? And you work corporate as well, right? So is it because, what was the reason? What I'm trying to say is, why did you pick up external careers outside of your creative paths or additional careers?
I think for me, what happened was I naturally fell into it because I knew my full-time was still kind of aligned with what I wanted to do. Okay. And I also knew that, like, regardless, in my 30s, I wanted to be working on something myself, like watching my parents and my immediate like aunties and uncles all running their own businesses. It just made sense for me to want to do that as well. But I also knew that to start, like to make money, you need money. Yeah. And I needed my full time to be able to accommodate that. So, and there's also that balance of like knowing that within this full-time job, you naturally get the industry standard and expectations that people should have of you within your business. So I always say I'm currently in the sponge stage. I'm just like soaking in everything, making all the connections and connecting all the dots to the people who will help like fuel the things that I actually want to do long term. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I am right now.
I think I totally agree with you. Like I believe there's a value in full-time work and like the etiquette that you learn and not just the monetary gain. I think it's also like the connections you make and how you train yourself to relate with people and do presentations and so many things. Like me personally, I would say that I wanted a full-time job, but the full-time job doesn't want me.
I'm running away.
Like, trust me, I have tried. You guys know I'm super transparent on this platform. 2020 was the year, that because of COVID, creative ventures wasn't popping as much. So I said, okay, let me try and, venture into the full-time world. And, I was just...
The universe said no.
It wasn't... Listen, the universe said sit back down. Like, it just was not working out for me. Like, so like when I see hybrid creatives, like I really do admire the strength. Like I think it takes a lot of mental strength to manage the two. I think it takes a lot of tenacity to even apply and get the job. So like I would love that for myself, as well, to see what is full-time work. I actually have no clue.
I
have no clue.
Because I feel like I had a similar experience before I got the job, where even throughout uni, I wasn't getting H&M, I wasn't getting Zara, I wasn't even getting Sports Direct. Yeah. So it was like, you have to make this creative thing work.
Yeah. And
I think when it reached a point where, cool, I knew that if I wanted to make money from photography, I just kind of have to promote myself a bit more than I can make a bit. But that wasn't consistent. And as you say, when you have the long-term plans, you need that consistency in the income. I think another aspect of that was also when I was applying for jobs and when I was actually doing the interviews, I'll never forget. One lady who interviewed me, she said that this banking thing, you're not really passionate about it.
Yeah. They can tell.
They can tell. But she said, what you need is structure. What you need is to go in to the industry, understand how things are done, how to set up your own thing. Do it for like 3-4 years and go and do what you actually want to do.
Yeah.
So I think, in terms of like balance, it's really, for me, it's been I'm quite passionate about what I do in
Yeah.
banking still, because I feel like for me, it's really about helping people.
Yeah.
And, people, as I say, there's always this stigma about economics and bankers.
Yeah.
But what I do, I really see the value because I'm helping like development organizations. Like this past week, we've had conversations with our clients about what's going on in Afghanistan and how we can directly make an impact there. But then it's like initially when I started trying to balance the two, it was like, cool, I can do shoots, but I don't have to rely on getting like the highest paying shoot and working with someone I don't really want to work with. Because that, when you start to reach that point,
It
then
can
you start
pay.
When
to...
you need the money,
man.
you start to say yes to any and everything.
Exactly.
No,
And that's where you kind of lose passion sometimes. I think that's where the full-time role kind of helps.
I think that's where you hear a lot of people say, like, don't monetize everything. Like, let some hobbies remain hobbies, because then you see yourself doing things that aren't actually aligned to you. But because you need to pay your rent, you know what I mean?
You end up like, and then it actually feels like a job. And you know how people say, like, if you really love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
That's
I don't
a
really
lie.
believe in that.
Because
it's
I work
like
every day.
it's fine, like it can be your passion, but at the end of the day, it's still work. And I think the sooner that people like come to terms with that reality, a lot of things will be easier. Because I think people get caught up in the fact that I should be enjoying this every single second, and when they're not, they start to question like if it's for them or not. And sometimes it is for them, but they just don't recognize that like you have to work extra hard in order to get to that peak. And you're like, okay, I can like settle down and then make like all the like achievements, all the money that I've been looking for.
That you've been looking for. That makes sense. Some things are just means to an end, and you need to oftentimes just do the hard work, the hard graft, so you can get to that soft life that you really want.
Soft life for me.
Soft life every day.
Indeed,
every day. But I really wanted to pick up on something you said about your journey in uni and building a collective. And I think that relates very strongly to kind of what you're creating right now with Newcomer. And you mentioned something about collaboration.
Yeah.
And that's something that oftentimes a lot of creatives we lack, you know, collaborative efforts. Because
want to be the one and only.
Yeah, you want to be the founder, the CEO, the everything. And you find that actually you get severely burnt out along the way, which is, you know, what I'm realizing in my journey right now. I always say that if I was to do this all over again, I would have found teammates before I decided I wanted to start building an online TV network, you know. And I'm at that stage now, if you guys been noticing, the channel is no longer Mo Chunks TV, it's now Mo Chunks, because it's giving me the chance to just be like an individual creative whilst I build the team ready to create that TV network later on down the line. So I haven't, you know, ended that dream. I've just parked it because I've realized it's not realistic to try to build this on your own. You know, talk to me about collaborative efforts and, you know, in relation to Newcomer and why you're building this amazing platform that I think is going to be so beneficial for creatives.
Amen.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that as well.
Amen.
Amen.
I think that experience and that journey really starts from where Natalie and I went to school.
Yeah.
So we went to this sixth form. Well, I would join the sixth form. Natalie joined from forever. But yeah, it was basically the sixth form where they brought together African students from all across the continent that were going to the same organizations, schools across the continent.
Yeah.
And I think from there, like when you live with like, you're living in dorms, there's about 6 of you in the room. One person's from Tanzania, one person from Kenya, one person from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
You realize that like everyone has different ways of doing things. Therefore, your way might not always be the optimal way.
Yeah.
So I think that like mental shift in an early stage really opens you up to taking in new ideas, making sure that you consider what your friend there can help you with and how you can collectively build to achieve something greater than you would have output yourself. So I think in uni, where I saw that collaboration become important was where, cool, I've done my first shoot, but I want to do more. I want to do more with people I don't know yet. How do I leverage the people around me? Or how do I give something out so then I can receive more in return? And I think that's where once you start to look to collaborate and identify where you're weak and where someone's strong, then you can kind of address those points and then move forward collectively. And I think, you know, as we're seeing with Newcomer, it's really, you know, looking out for each other because I think we've identified that people don't really prioritize us when it comes to, you know, hiring African creatives outside of, we need a black person in our team to fill that quota. Like we have to recognize that we provide a unique perspective, one that is probably not shared by many people because many people don't have to live in dual worlds essentially. So people who grew up on a continent, people who grew up in the diaspora, and those who are kind of converging now, like they're getting interested in what's going on in Ghana, what's going on in Nigeria, even beyond that, what's going on in Rwanda, what's going on in Mozambique. And I think people from the continent are like, right, okay, so it's not just like living life, and like these people are also going through something. And I think we've seen that with some of the issues we've seen over the past, 2 years. We have the NSARS and Black Lives Matter and so on and so forth.
So much going on in the media. Yeah.
Exactly.
So many parallels.
It's a much bigger issue. But coming back to the collaboration point, I think the only way we can kind of get over the issue of not being prioritized, not having access to opportunities, is to kind of create them for ourselves. And that's where we're saying, cool, let's come together. Let's bring those who provide the opportunities. Let's bring those with the skills and put them on one platform that allows them to be the best they can be.
Woo!
that was a good summary. Right? I was hoping I brought it all together.
That was good.
I was hoping I brought it all together.
It was very good. Natalie, would you like to jump in on that point?
Yeah, I think the only thing that was like different for me in terms of my transition from uni to now is I was freelancing by myself, and transitioning from like lash productions that I used to do by myself on the side to Newcomer was completely different, because I know like Nigel, I know I'm very stubborn. I know I can be very like stubborn in my points and stuff, and I know that's because normally I wouldn't have had to ask anyone else for their opinions, but I've really been trying hard to like to listen to other people, accommodate their opinions, and actually consider them, because people just think, okay, if I listen to the point in the moment, I don't actually have to action it. But then if you don't action it, what's the point of listening in the first place? So I'd say definitely in terms of that's been one thing for me that I've noticed that I actively have to transition out of, to ensure that what we're building with Newcomer is actually along the lines of all of our values, because it's not just Natalie's value, it's Nigel's value, the rest of the team's value, and obviously our target audience's values as well. And on the side of the nuances of the African experience, I think that's so key right now, because even with how we describe our audience for Newcomer, we don't say Black creatives, although we are targeting Black creatives. We realize that when you say Black, you think of African Americans, you think of Black British people, you think of everyone across the diaspora before you even think of people like living and working on the continent. And like with NSARS as well, like there were so many conversations surrounding, like I remember there was one woman who tweeted, "Are Nigerians Black as well? Where's everyone?" kind of thing. And I think sometimes those conversations don't happen because they end up having a lot of tensions, and then you have diaspora wars, etc. But I think the more we like actually sit down and realize that we're more similar than we think, and acknowledging the differences that we have, of course, but then still doing it in such a way that's sensitive and empathetic to everyone else, I think that's like the main thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. And would you say that Newcomer, bridges the gap between the diaspora and Africans back home? Would you like to kind of like touch on that purpose of the platform?
Yeah, because I think for us, and we were speaking about this earlier, throughout lockdown, Clubhouse era, you just had so many conversations that could have been positive but ended up being ignorant.
Derailed,
because it's people who are committed to misunderstanding each other. And I think for us, we're saying, cool, we understand that these are the differences, these are the similarities. We have a social platform, and we've done it in a specific way that encourages that social interaction, such that you can learn from each other and overcome those, I guess, ignorant points.
Culture tensions,
because I think, part of the reason that I think we have that tension or divide is because we are only now starting to learn about what each other goes through. And it's because we've all had to live in the same space online over the last 2 years. Because before that you can chill in your London. All you know is the bus that you take to work, the recess that you go to on the weekend, the friends that you see. That's it. But now everything's online. Everyone is kind of feeling the same issues, and you realize, right, we're protesting in the UK, protesting in Nigeria, Ghana, and New York and LA, all in the same year. And it's like, right, it's the same people that look like me. So why not give them a platform to express their opinions, reach out to one another? We have like a feature literally called discussion boards. So you have an idea, you chuck that idea on a discussion board and say, listen, I have this thing I'm thinking about. This is how I'm trying to go about it. Do you have any other ideas? And there I think we're pushing people to track, I wouldn't even say track is the right word, but appreciate the value of your contribution by how many interactions are genuine. So it's not about likes or shares or favorites. It's about how many people are you getting to discuss this topic, or how many people across the world are tuning into what you're saying, or how how is your work being shared and what kind of impact is it delivering? So we're trying to also address that, because I think that's also been another point about social that we've seen, that people get obsessed with the metrics.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it becomes, cool, we had this Diaspora War Clubhouse room, we had 1,000 people tune in.
Right. Yeah.
These times you don't even think
the takeaway isn't there.
Yeah, you don't even think like, right, did we actually advance the conversation? Did we actually try and fix some issues? So yeah, I think definitely with Newcomer, we're really trying to bring people together in a safe space. And I know safe space is hard to say, because you create the space, but you can't ensure it's safe.
Yeah.
But I think, we're really trying to create a platform that is going to allow people from our kind of backgrounds to be open and transparent and hopefully learn from each other. I think that's the main thing. If we can learn from each other, then I think then we can collaborate more and then see more across the diaspora.
That's amazing. Well done, guys, for building this.
Thanks,
and
man.
where can we access it?
So I'm going to break that down in two ways. So we're currently in beta.
Okay.
And you can join the waitlist at new-comma.com. And we're currently sending everything out in batches. And actually on that point, sorry, I'm going off tangent.
Yeah.
We're doing that because we're currently bootstrapping Newcomer. We're just about to start raising our first round of funding. But that's kind of determining just how many people we can onboard at a time. Okay. So we're doing that in batches right now. And it's kind of like interesting because throughout this entire journey, our key thing has been transparency. Okay. And I know how people say build in public, but then you never really say what you're doing. But for us, it's also it's a learning process in itself to help other people know, okay, if you're building a startup, these are the kind of things you should consider, the kind of things you should avoid, etc. And that's just been one key thing for us as well. But yes, on Instagram, you can find us at new.comma, and then on Twitter at new_comma.
Yeah, awesome. And then if you want to download the beta?
It's currently a web app.
Okay.
And then eventually next year, fingers crossed, we'll have it as an app as well.
When the money comes in, amen.
Amen.
What would you say your biggest goal with Newcomer is?
I think my biggest goal is to make sure that someone can say, I want to be this sort of creative, learn exactly how they can become that and monetize that to live as the creative in that field that they say they want to do.
Right.
And hopefully have as many people across the communities that we're supporting share that experience.
Awesome. And for you, Natalie?
I think for me, it's expanding to the creative people who people don't even consider are creative, and those who ironically have artists and creatives in their names but don't get thought of first, like makeup artists, tattoo artists, etc. When you think of the creative community, they're not coming up first. And the whole point with Newcomer is to open the same space to those people and not necessarily just focus on the typical photographers, videographers, animators, etc. It's truly a space that we want to be that we want to make diverse for as many creative disciplines as possible. So we're not just here for the diversity of the African experience, we're also here for the diversity of creative disciplines as well. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to expanding on Newcomer.
Collaboration all across the board, all across the continent. No, it sounds really, really, really awesome. And when I first came across Newcomer, I was thinking about my personal creative journey and how I would have loved, still would love to do something in Nigeria in terms of presenting and that's my home. I left when I was 10, and I really cried the night I had to board that flight because I was like, you'd come here on holiday the previous year, and I saw how small the houses were. Like one house is I don't know, my street.
Like someone's room.
My street was the compound back home. So I was like, why would my parents decide to move us, downsize our family like this to the UK? And they say you can take the girl out of Nigeria, you can't take the Nigeria out of the girl. That's definitely my story. I would love to go back and gain opportunities back home as well in terms of my creative journey. Would you say that Newcomer would allow someone like me, if I wanted to, for example, browse, okay, what's the latest TV network that's hiring a presenter? Is that something that I would be able to find on the platform?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
And would they be able to find me as well?
Absolutely.
It's definitely both ways. And one feature that we're actually building is the we actually don't have a name for it yet, but I'll just describe how it's supposed to work. So it's going to work in pods where, like you said, if you're looking to, I don't know, shoot a music video and you want to have different versions of the cast. So your first pod could have this director, producer, camera op, etc., and then other pods that have different versions of what you're looking for.
Okay.
And within that will make it easier to search or change your behavior in terms of searching for people as groups as opposed to individuals. Because typically on social media, like if you go to someone's Instagram, people think or people equate the number of followers they have to their competence. And that isn't always necessarily the case. But then with changing those like kind of behaviors on newcomer, it helps you to think about natural collaborations. And as people work together more and more often, you tend to see that certain creatives work with other people typically. So if you're looking to find people who need to execute a particular thing, then at least you know, okay, if I'm looking for someone in Abuja who needs to do this for me, if I'm looking for that person, I know I go here. If I'm looking for someone in Accra, I can go here. So long story short, you can find people both here, like across the diaspora, but then also creatives back home as well.
No, that's amazing. That sounds really, really awesome. And would you say that it's just, you know, the main African countries that we know of, or is there more?
You know, the funny thing is, I was looking at our user demographics. We have users in Somalia. We have users in I think Rwanda, Congo. And these are coming up in terms of like top 5, not like at the bottom of the list. So I think I really love that. And I think, you know, for us, it's also trying to move away from this main character syndrome that West African countries
Oh my God,
have.
as much as I love Ghana, Nigeria, it's not every day for us.
But because I think, you know, there's a lot of value in those parts of Africa, and we need to also support them in a way that puts everyone on the same pedestal. I think that's the main thing. Because it's not that Nigeria is better than Ghana, or Ghana is better than Nigeria, or South Africa is better than Zim. It's like, you guys are creating some cool stuff there. And we want everyone to know that you're creating this stuff because first of all, it's cool, and like no one else can do it the way you're doing it. And secondly, and secondly, like people are looking for that kind of stuff to pay you. So why not give you a platform to allow you to do that? And I think for the agencies who are looking for that kind of talent, like Natalie and I always get DMs. It's like, we want to do a project in Kenya. Do you guys know any like photographers or camera ops or directors? And like we go through our list and we'll, you know, suggest people. But we want to really automate that and create a nicer experience around that. Because I think the issue with having that kind of scenario is that it creates clicks and it creates gatekeepers. And you want to kind of eradicate that such that a lot more people can have that opportunity, have access. And as you say, if you go from here to Nigeria, you don't know anyone today, you're going to have a tough time. You're going to have a tough time, and it happens all across the continent. But if you had a platform that was a bit more open and transparent and fair, such that you can go on, you put your work there, someone's looking for you and they come across your profile and they say, I like Mo, I want to hire Mo. I click this button and we can start talking.
So I would have a profile on there and they would see all my skill set, my portfolio. Oh, wow, amazing. Amazing.
I think one additional thing to add to that from the side of the recruiters as well is we also want to change how people think of people they're considering to hire, because looking at someone's LinkedIn profile, that's probably not who they are in real life in terms of the kind of things they post, even the way they arrange their portfolio and stuff. If you're a creative on LinkedIn, it's very it's very difficult to actually display what you've worked on and to talk about what you've worked on the way you would talk about it to a friend. So the way we're like positioning our feeds and our portfolios on Newcomer is to really informalize the way people talk about their work. So it's kind of like the tone of Twitter, but then you've got your portfolio at the same time. So if we're looking to hire you, for instance, someone go to your profile, see that, okay, this is what you're talking about today, the way you would talk about it with us, for instance. And then they would also be able to see like your videos on YouTube and the other things that you do offline as well with events and all of that. So it's really about getting to know the people as they are and not necessarily who they are in a professional context.
Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for coming to talk to me about, you know, the Nigerian or the African, you see, with main character syndrome, the African creative experience with relation to your parents, finding your path, monetizing your passions, and also this amazing venture, this amazing platform that you're building in Newcomer. What's your amazing slogan? Every newcomer? What's it?
Every newcomer is a newcomer.
Every newcomer is a newcomer.
Every newcomer is a newcomer. Oh shit, but this.
Love that.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
And you guys at home as well that you're watching, if you are a creative, you know, vast majority of like talents across the board that we were talking about, makeup artists, different, wherever you are located in a diaspora, back home in Africa, regardless of whatever country it is, definitely go and sign up to the wait list on www.newcomer.com. I believe I got that correct. Yes.
Yeah. New-comma.com.
New-comma.com, and make sure you get yourself on this amazing platform and begin to explore the new world of opportunities across the board. Thank you guys so much for watching today. Where can we find you personally before we go?
Wait, I think...
Or is it just a newcomer? Is it the newcomer? Like, whichever one.
I think listen, hey, my socials on Instagram, I'm Nigel_AM. And on Twitter, Nigel Atamensa. So it's just one
you never
word,
know, some investors will be watching.
Yeah. Nigel Atamensa.
I am NATALIIEN on both Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome.
And I love our newcomer. I'm just Natalie.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Natalie and Nigel, for joining me today. Thank you guys so much for watching at home. Do like this if you liked it. Share it with your friends. Comment below on some of the things we spoke about and subscribe to this channel for more. And today's question, guys, have you guys ever had to, decide to venture away from what your parents planned for your lives? And, what was their reactions to that? Are you a creative? Are you a full-time creative? Are you a hybrid creative like Nigel and Natalie? And what's your journey been like in terms of choosing your path, monetizing your passions, and just making it work for you? Until next time, guys, peace and love, peace and chunks.